Yeah, so we were set up on a new sound system and PA system and everything today, but they told me not to get used to it. So we won't have music streaming every week, and we won't have our screen looking so great and all that great stuff. But anyway, so welcome. It's already November 9th. I can't believe it. 2 weeks is Thanksgiving. I mean, that's just unbelievable to me how quickly time is gone. So remember, put all excuses aside, and remember this: you are capable. Everything that you do, your success, everything, whether your life is great, whether your life is horrible, is all in your mind. It's all how you manifest what's going on in your life. And if you believe we're going into a great market in 2023, then hell, we're going into a great market in 2023 regardless, right? There's always good markets and there's always bad markets. It's very cyclical. So really, we're going into a normalizing market is what we're doing, right? The last few years were not normal in any way, shape, or form. Though they were great, they weren't normal. So we're now going into a market correction and it's normalizing again. So we still have a lot of great things to be thankful for in the market. Things have slowed down quite a bit in the last few weeks, but that's typical any election time, regardless of what kind of market we're in, right? So it slows down for election, slows down during the holidays, right? This is just a time to regroup. So make sure right now, if you do have some more time, that you're doing the right daily activities you need to be successful in 2023. Don't stop now. So focus on now. As I'm saying, everything's about right now. Don't worry about what's happening tomorrow, next week, next month. Remember, everything you do today is what's going to be your business in 2023. So the longer that you decide to put your business on hold during the holidays, the longer your business is going to start up again in 2023. It's just the way it is. We're always 2 to 3 months out. So we're just going to watch a 3-minute video. Hopefully everything works in my favor for once. Bigger and go.
Beyond your business plan, beyond your big rocks, beyond your goal, beyond how the business you want to take it, income, GCI, and profit, I'm asking them, what do you need to focus on? What is going to give you the greatest opportunity for success in your opinion? So I am a fan of singular focus, double one thing. So you need to double the top of the funnel number of leads you're generating. For a lot of my clients, that's what it is. Do you need to double the quantity of referrals that you're getting? I'm interviewing Lisa from Austin, Texas, one of our longtime clients. She had 97 closed referrals last year from her database. 97. So she's got a strategy. We're going to unpack it. You'll see it on one of my podcasts soon. So when I said, what do you want to do? She's like, well, I get a lot of referrals. She's like, but I need to double my conversion. I need to double my conversion because as the market shifts and consumers are more concerned, interest rates are at 7, what do we do? She's like, I just need to figure out between myself and the one person that helps her, like the daughter on her team, hey, how can they do a better job helping a buyer or seller make a decision faster, even if it's a no, to do it faster. So for her, it's conversion. It's her buyer consultation. It's her listing presentation. If you look at the next one, I'm a big fan of doubling down with appointments because at the end of the day, success in real estate is you open up your calendar or you look at your calendar for the week and you see a ton of appointments, you are winning. You look at your calendar and there's no appointments, you are losing. Period, end of story. This business is all about prospecting, lead follow, going on appointments and doing negotiations, right? Call the plan, prospect, lead follow, go on appointments and negotiate. So what if just for a second you said, okay, I'm going to be out of time. If I told you the number of men and women I've worked with and personally with my 237 business coaches all over the world, we all say the same thing. The fastest way to get somebody to succeed at an even higher level, the greatest leverage point, is for them to put a big thing up on their wall that says, I'm committed to going on 100 appointments in the next 3 months, 6 months, year, whatever it may be, and having a countdown track 199, 98, 97, 96, and getting visual inside your office, making it public, and then focusing on that. Because last time I checked, when was the last time you got a contract signed without an appointment? Make sense? Then you can say, well, where am I going to get the appointments from? I got you covered. Where do you need to focus? The last one, somebody would say, Tom, I know what to do, I just gotta do it. So if I just double my execution, I say, okay, that sounds great. But I challenge you, it's like throw these thoughts at you. It's not doing all of them. It's picking the one or two that are right for you, your business, your style, your approach. Make sense?
So I asked the agents on my Monday motivation or morning motivation this morning. I said, name one thing that you believe is holding you back from getting to where you want to be. One thing that every day, is it making phone calls? Oops. Is it making phone calls? Is it being consistent in your daily activities? Is it following a calendar? Is it managing your days? What is the one thing that you can identify that you can work on for the rest of the year, so that starting 2023, you have a good daily habit in place and that you're doing the right things to grow your business? What is that? So I want everybody to think about that. Just think about what is it that you can do on a daily basis, or something that you feel is holding you back from being the person you want to be, from having the lifestyle you want to be, from having the business and the success that you want. One thing, identify. You all know what it is. You probably don't want to think about it because you don't want to do it. But if you identify it, maybe it could help you to do it maybe once a day, right? You don't have to go all in and make 100 phone calls a day. Make one phone call a day. It's still more than you're doing now. Just identify something that is holding you back from being the person you want to be. Okay, think about that. So start now to increase your business before January. According to NAR, again, I shared this, and when I shared this at the accountability meeting the other day, I said, just so you know, if you don't know me by now, if I find something I like to say, I will say it over and over again, as if you never heard it before. So just as a reminder. So historically, the average number of agents that stop working from now until the end of the year is between 40 and 43%. So that's starting in 2 weeks, or maybe starting next week, because people are getting prepared for Thanksgiving. 40 to 43% of the agents in our industry, in our area, in our local market, are going to stop working. And then they're just going to continue to stop working, and they're just going to keep pushing it off until the new year. And then the new year comes and they have to remotivate themselves, they have to re-engage themselves, they have to start the wheel all over again. And that's a lot harder than just keeping momentum in your business. I'll tell you that for sure. So what's also going to happen is when they start in January, now their first piece of business isn't going to be till March, April, or May. Okay, so you don't want to have that. You want to keep momentum in your business. You want to be able to pay for those Christmas presents you're buying and all the Christmas fun you're going to have, or Hanukkah fun, or whatever it is that you're celebrating this holiday season, right? So make sure that you are doing things consistently, day after day after day. Continuing. The holidays, I can't say, me and Silvana can't say, we're going to stop coming in from now until the holidays. Okay, guys, you're on your own. Have fun. We'll see you in January. You know, it's not how it works. You have to keep your business going. You're an entrepreneur. You are your business owner. You have to keep your doors open until January 1st. Elevating your commitment and the work you do every day to find motivated buyers and sellers will position your business to end the year strong and lay the foundation for a productive new year. Let your database know that buying, selling a house now is less competitive and smoother with you as an agent, right? So again, a lot of the buyers who got out of the market back in June, July, May, April was because they couldn't take the stress anymore of getting overbid on homes, right? The competition was too fierce. Now they don't have that competition, right? They don't have that competition. And another thing I want to remind you also, or just, you know, bring to your attention. I know we're focusing a lot on, I know the interest rates are high and the buyers that we had, you know, are out of the market. They can no longer afford, they're priced out. But the people coming in today don't even know what the pricing was before. They might know 3%, 4%, 7%, but that doesn't mean anything to them because they didn't get a pre-approval for 2,500 that went up to 3,500, right? So it's not, you have to remember that, because I've been in front of people. I was saying my sister, for instance, just got pre-approved by Anthony. She never said to me, oh my God, the interest rates are such and such and such and such, because she wasn't pre-approved before that. It's, yes, I understand the people who had a, you know, a pre-approval and had a payment back then, and now we're seeing it. That's going to be a sticker shock to anybody, right? Anywhere. But for the new people coming in, don't even focus on the interest rates. Don't. It is what it is. and they're being pre-approved at what that is today. So now they're going to know what their buying power is today. So remember, it's like, don't even think about that, because that's what I've noticed. Anybody I've talked to that's just getting in the market, nieces, nephews, any kind of family, they don't ever, they're not mentioning the interest rates at all. It's not even an issue to them because they don't know the difference in buying power that they would have had a year ago or 6 months ago compared to now. They don't know it. So again, just something to remind you of. Determine which of your leads are ready to make a move now or could be motivated to make a move within the next 30, 60, 90 days. So remember last week, Tom's message was identify 10 people in your pipeline that are going to be moving in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Put them on a whiteboard so that you see it every single day. Make it a screenshot on the front of your phone so you're constantly looking at the people that you're going to transact with in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And as one person gets off that thing, maybe their plans change, maybe you end up getting them into somewhere, then you move them out and you put someone in. So you always have 10 people in your pipeline ready to transact in the next 30, 60, 90 days, which I thought was great. So what do you need to focus on to double your business? Double your pipeline, double your conversion, and double your appointments. So pick one and let's get started. So everybody in your mind, just look at that list. You can call it out if you want to be held accountable, or you cannot call it out if you don't want to be held accountable, whatever you're comfortable with. What is it that you want to focus on to double your business in the next 60 days, say, until we get to the new year? Is it doubling your pipeline? Is it doubling your conversion? Right? Do you have a nice pipeline, but maybe you need help in converting clients? You could have converted a lot more last year, whatever it is that's important to you, or doubling your appointments. You have enough appointments each week to keep your business going. Put it in your phone, put it in your mind, write it down. Just make sure that you're picking one of these things that you want to work on moving forward. So double your pipeline. Opportunity starts with your pipeline. According to these statistics by Tom, 35% of the time, the leads you meet will convert in the first 90 days. 65% of the time, the leads you meet will have a transaction sometime in the future. So again, I love stats because it helps me understand more what I need to do if I'm working with a buyer or seller or online lead or whatever the case may be. So I heard stats the other day, which are very similar to this, that say online leads, right? 73% of online leads will not transact for at least 6 months, right? They need to be nurtured. They need to be nurtured. 26%, the additional 26% will convert within the next 60 or 30, 60, 90 days, right? So the question was, do you have a system that nurtures your leads so when they're ready, you're on top of mind? And yes, we have that system, right? We have KV Core. And so that system, you put your clients in, it nurtures them on your behalf so that you don't have to think about it and you don't have to worry about it, because I know that's the most frustrating part, right, of our job, that we don't want to have to worry about constantly, or following up or feeling bad if we don't. So the system does that. So why don't people use the system? Number one, they don't take the invested time to use it properly. They don't set up a time with Laura once a week or once every 2 weeks to make sure they're really understanding that system, which is huge. This is a great time of the year to do it when you're slower, making sure you get it up and running for yourself. Number two, maybe it had glitches at the beginning. Maybe something went wrong and now they don't trust it anymore, so they don't want to use it anymore, right? They don't like the campaigns, what they say, it doesn't sound like me. It's not supposed to sound like you, because if it sounded like you and you were able to do this, then you would have enough customers that you wouldn't need to go into the system and put them in. So don't worry about what the message is that I'm setting out there, right? Because it's tried and true. What they're putting out there, it's already tried and true. If you're really that concerned about them, then go in and do a custom campaign with Laura and put something that you feel more comfortable with. I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even, waste my time with that because it's already done for you. And then recognize that when you get a lead in, whatever type of lead you get in, maybe it's an open house lead, maybe it's an online lead, an UpCity lead, a Wiker.com lead, whatever lead it is that you're getting, understand that 73% of them are not ready to transact at that time. They're just getting into the market. So if you understand that in your mind, then you won't be as frustrated if you don't hear back from someone right away. And hopefully you'll continue to follow up with them, right, until they are ready. So again, just for your mindset, so that if someone doesn't reach back out to you, it's not necessarily that they don't like you or they're not interested in you. It's maybe they're not completely ready at the time. So do you have enough leads in your pipeline to support your list of 10 active clients every month? So if your single focus is double your pipeline, how are you going to do it? Are you going to do more prospecting? New lead source, somewhat new way of getting leads in? What are some new lead sources to target? And consistent follow-up strategy. So I always say, if you just followed up with the leads you had, you probably have a good conversion rate of getting more business just from that alone. The people that you already have in your database, just following up with them consistently, right? And again, that's something that KV Core does for you. So I was talking to, everybody knows Eric, the new agent. He joined us probably about 2 months ago. And so yesterday we did a one-on-one, and he said he's doing open houses. He's been doing like 2 a week. He's doing one on a Friday or Thursday or Friday and one on the weekend, because he knows that's a great way to meet people. And he's been successful in meeting people there. So he feels very good about that. And he said, you know, I used my Wyckoff Open House app. He said, I used the paper one once and I couldn't read what anybody wrote on it. He goes, I could not read. I don't know why anyone would use that. I could not read a thing. He goes, not only that, then it dumps the people right in my CRM. I could see what they're looking at. I could see how many times they're looking at that house. Like, that's what you want. You want your business to be on automation. You don't want to have to do every single thing on your own. That's what's frustrated you in the past. So remember, put your business on autopilot by putting your sphere and your clients and everybody into your CRM and making sure it's working for you. So double your conversion. So does everybody know how to look on to see how many leads you have and how many prospects on your KV Core? It's very, very easy. Very, very easy. I could show you really quickly as far as our office, what we have, because I have mine on as an office level, obviously. So if I go into business analytics right here on the side, it's probably going to take a minute to load. I can show you how many our office has at this time. Or not, because it's not even moving. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Give it time to load, because that's definitely not correct. So this just shows you, oh, it is loading. Okay, this just shows you. So you can look, obviously on your dashboard, you're going to see how many you have. You're going to see how many people you have as marked as sphere. So we have 27,752 people in our office have identified a contact as a sphere. 201,614 as prospects, 21,566 new leads, 5,727 active leads, 503 clients, 31 under contract, 2,700 closed, and 259,000 in total. So obviously, again, this is on an office view. You can look at your own when you go into your thing. So if you want to keep up to date with what you have, and you know what you have in here, and maybe it gives you an idea of what you need to tweak, just take a look at that. It's very easy to look at. So this is how you review your pipeline right here on KV Core. So review your pipeline of prospects in the My Business tab on your My Wyckoff dashboard. Which of these leads in your pipeline has an interest in making a move? And what can you use to motivate them to make a decision sooner, right? So it's a good way for you to identify people that maybe you forgot about. That would be a good viable lead. Double your conversion. Resources and tools available to help motivate your leads. Buyer consultation, listing presentation, local market trends, articles, video market updates, market reports, property alerts, new listings, exclusives, and solds. So let's go back to the first two. Buyer's consultation and listing presentation. The last 2 years, most of you could probably say you probably didn't even need that. Right? You got a call in, you went in, everything went super fast, and that was that. You didn't need to order brochures for your listing anymore. You know, video, photography, you did it, but you really didn't have to do that much, right? There was very little you had to do in the last few years to market your client's property, because it flew off the market within days and you got 20 to 30 offers, right? Just by putting it on the market. Now more than ever, in a changing market, in a normalizing market, we have to get back to the basics, and really getting your listing presentation and buyer's consultation up to par is huge, because you are going to be up against other agents again. So you want to make sure that you're well prepared, and we have all of the resources that you need in order to prepare yourself. Local market trends. I keep saying this to you guys. Make sure you're following up with articles, videos. Just look at keeping current matters every day. Follow a real estate expert on a podcast. Just so you're keeping up to what's going on in the market every single day. Market reports and property alerts are already built into our My Record system, so we can send them to our clients if we set them up on a campaign very easily, so that they are, on top of what's going on as well. And again, taking new exclusives, new listings, exclusives, and getting them sold. So double your appointments. Become their local real estate resource. Reconnect and assist. What is their current situation? What is their vision for their future lifestyle? Provide information and motivation to make it a reality. An annual equity review. So we're going to give you some dialogue on what that means. What's an annual equity review, and a dialogue to get in front of those sellers who bought a house in the last few years. So create a quick CMA on RPR for your homeowner. So for the new agents, they're probably saying, what the heck is she talking about? CMA, RPR, all these different, right? We have our own like real estate lingo that we use. And if nobody is in real estate, they're like, what the heck? We just condense everything into the first letter. That's what we do. But we'll share that with you. So mortgage information on the report reflects the most recent loan, home equity or refi. Refer to your records for the original mortgage amount. So what they're saying is if you go on to Remine or you go on to RPR, they're going to show you what their last mortgage was, right? And then then you're going to figure out what their current home is worth, so you can figure out what kind of equity they have in there, right? So it's not exact. Subtract total mortgage loan amounts from the CMA valuation to calculate current equity. Reach out for an appointment to meet and review. Create and distribute great news video. And follow up, call, text for an appointment to meet, work together to create a plan today to reach their goals. So is everybody on Remine now? Is everybody signed up on Remine? Okay. So if you go on Remine and you pull in a property, right on top, it tells you the equity. So it takes what the estimated value, right? The computerized value that they've put for that property minus what their last mortgage amount was, and they'll tell you on top what the equity is for that house. So you have an idea. So it gives you a really quick view of what their equity might be in a specific property. So median equity earned, the median equity earned in a home sold in 2022 is $85,000. Okay. Just based on how the market appreciated so quickly in this year, right? Alone, not even in the last few years. So when you purchased your home, you made one of the biggest decisions of your life. But what a great decision. Since you purchased your home, the value has increased by, that's a % return on your investment. This is just a quick analysis. I can provide a more in-depth complimentary price trend analysis of your home that would include any improvements you've made. Let's meet to review how great news affects you in detail. So this is a way to call those people who have bought in the past few years and let them know how much equity they've gained in such a short amount of time in just purchasing real estate. Okay. So what do you need to focus on right now for your business? Open your laptops and review your My Business tab. Do you have leads in your pipeline now to replenish your 10 active client list every month? So your My Business tab is going through the analytics that we just shared with you, okay? To see what you have and going through your current clients that you have in your CRM. Who are your prospects in your pipeline that you can motivate to make a move in the next 30, 60, 90 days? Select 10 leads in your 60 to 90 day pipeline to focus on and move to your active client list. Reach out to prepare and deliver an annual equity review. So that's a plan in place for you guys to get going for the rest of the year. So work smarter, not harder. You already have leads in your system. Make sure that you're utilizing those leads. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they've been doing that they could share with everybody else? Yes, Terry, thank you, because you guys are so super quiet today. I'm going to get my microphone back again.
The only thing I did. Realize that there were just so many ways that I have people's information. They're signing in at open houses. There's form, this paper, that paper, who's called about a listing. I have a list going, who's going, realtors, people. It got all crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Got away from me. So I went back to ABC things. it sounds. It focused it for me because people I lost track of from a couple of years, maybe I reached out only once or twice. So I went on tax records to see if they're still there, see if they go back into them. And I reached out that way, but I have them now in different groups. And every day I work on like, if I can't find them, it's something. Stay in touch with them, see if they changed, are they still in there? Things like that, just to keep it straight. Because
I love that. So every day, 5 people she's reaching out to from her contacts that she knows, just to keep in touch with them. 5 people is not overwhelming. It's something that everybody could do every single day. Everybody has enough time to make 5 calls. I mean, and if you're lucky, you'll talk to 2 of them, right? Because not everybody answers their phone anymore.
half of them disappeared. They were really cool, or something else happened. They were like Essex County people, not even our, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine, because they answered and said whatever, and talked again.
And you kept in touch, which is awesome. Which is awesome. So don't forget that. Reach out to the people you know that know you, trust you, are your biggest fans first, and just reconnect with them and let them know what's going on in the market. The market is so, Howard handed me the paper yesterday, and it said, I actually took a picture of it, the headline. Just because I was just like, this is horrible. This is what people are seeing. This is why we have to be the voice of what's going on. The market is worse than you imagine. That was in the New York Times yesterday. The market is worse than you imagine. That was the big headline. It was one whole full page. So think about that. It's not worse than anyone imagines. That's exaggeration, right? So again, we have to be the people, we have to be the ones who are the professionals, the experts, the consultants that are making sure that we are passing on the proper, correct information to our clients about real estate. It's really, really important. Thank you, Terry. So Anthony, I'm bringing you up now so we don't rush you off at the end, because we love what you have to say about mortgage rates so much.
Saw a couple of announcement, increase. Interest rates actually, with the 10-year actually started to come down, which is a good thing. And, with a lot of excitement on that, we were hoping we were going to kind of maybe get to some lower levels. And then unfortunately, I sent another email out probably about an hour or so later. The Fed announced that they had a meeting after that, or a Q&A, and then a lot of questions were asked, and they talked about obviously potential more rate hikes in the future, and we're not kind of done yet. We still have a lot of work to do, and it's thrown the market completely the other direction and kind of push rates back higher. So it's just kind of volatility that we're dealing with right now. Jobs report was Friday. It showed 261,000 jobs as unemployment rate moved up 3.7%. Wage growth rose a bit more than expected. Overall, strong report shows no signs of recession. So the funny thing is, on that $261,000 jobs, right? When they always report these numbers on a month-to-month basis for the previous month before, the challenge you run into is there's so much that goes into that number. They do like a correction to that number like a month or two after that, and it winds up always being less than what the number actually is. Mm-hmm. So the data that comes out has a knee-jerk reaction in the market, live time that day, and then also the real numbers technically, it's like they do their tallies come out months later, and meanwhile it's nowhere even near the numbers that they promote. So there's like this whole kind of facade that kind of goes into that, and everybody always gets super mad about that, but it makes the market live time. That's interesting. Rates fell at the beginning of the week, but rose at the Fed meeting, came to the conclusion at the end of the week, as I just mentioned. What's happening this week? The week will be quieter because of Veterans Holiday, it's Friday. On tap is Election Day and CPI, Consumer Price Index, which we're watching very closely. So we can get a little lumpy today into tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. That's a tough number to swallow. Just like Missy was just saying, and I said this to Missy, I think a week or so ago, or some agents too. Anybody that's doing a lifetime period rules now, this is only what they know, right? Yes, if you weren't able to get a house
6, 8 months, like a year ago, you're still hung on last year's numbers, it's gonna be a tough pill to swallow because what we're dealing with right now, but all the live buyers pre-approved right now, this is what they know, this is the payment, this is currently what they're working on. So with that, it's something that we have to really concentrate on, stay in our lanes, right? Try not to bring up rates. All rates were super high. I can't believe it. Like,
Yeah.
why do we need to address that kind of elephant with the buyer that's new in the marketplace, right?
Mhm.
And it's huge. I'm hearing a lot of tough stories right now. I was on the phone with an agent this morning that they're trying to get me the opportunity, and I've done probably more for her buyer than they even know, helping the agent discussing a loss deal that we have no opportunity with, but lenders making huge mistakes, blocking rates that don't even go through the closing date, agreeing to seller concessions that are actually more than what the closing cost limits are. So I'm explaining to the agent, to the buyer to go back to that lender. So there's a lot of things going on out there that people are just throwing stuff against the wall. So controlling your business is super critical right now. Getting pre-approvals that are day before contract, live time. I would not be running around with buyers that run on pre-approvals that 2 to 3 weeks, a month old. The dynamic and landscape is extremely different when it comes to payment. So it's really.
I threw this in.
That's okay.
Surprise. No, I saw this on social media and I thought it was just, I like to see it laid out for me because I feel like when it's visual, I understand it more. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is super critical. Everybody's always like, oh my God, super low interest rate, right? But as home prices sort of settle down in some markets where we're not maybe going super crazy, and there's some markets where buyers are fighting for still deals with multiple offers, especially right where we sit right now. But look at this, like, let's use like going into the end of last year, 2021, a $600,000 house at 3%, the P&I, which is the principal and interest, is $20.24 a month. Well, if you're buying a house right now at $380,000 at a 7% rate, look at that payment. It's virtually almost exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing when you really think about that. Like Lisa said, is more a visual number versus like, you just throwing things out.
Yeah, now what they did here is they crossed off like that the house went down from 500 to 380, which is not true,
Sure.
right? So that's not true, that part. And and so, but just to see the difference in what you can get affordability wise. But again, yep, it's 2 different houses. So yes, again, for those people, for those buyers who were out in the market last year, that's a hard pill to swallow, right? That's a hard, for those who are just coming in the market, they have no idea. So it should be, oh, the mortgage rates normalized. That's what we should be saying to people, not like, oh my God, can you believe how high the mortgage rates went? That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. Yes. Once they've seen it, yes, but the new ones out there don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. So that's the good thing.
We've done trainings on this, buyers about this, well, it has some great advantages for buyers. So we talked about benefits from a seller's end, if they're maybe dropping out price on a house and what we could do from an offering standpoint to the buyer. But just like, let's say you're offering a listing presentation, let's say you're having that second conversation with them, working closely with all the lender partner who can provide financial alternatives, such as rate buy downs in case a home does not sell quickly as you'd like. So you kind of maybe tail this in on when you're doing the listing presentation. These alternatives can save you money as they are less expensive than lowering the home price. So instead of lowering the home price by blah, blah, blah amount, I would recommend a very small drop would be highlighted. Together, we'll be offering to pay for a buy down of the rate. This alternative can save you thousands of dollars and also attract more potential buyers to the home. The buy down is lower than the cost of actually the unique offering. So if you guys remember the slides that we put out a couple weeks ago, even the flyers we've used, we've showed like if a seller had a lower price, like $30,000 price. If you offer a buy down, let's say equates to $10,000 or $12,000 in cost, the buyer or the sellers come down still ahead by $18,000 versus that big reduction on a listing or something else. So these are just different alternatives that we're able to do. And then on the buyer's end, if rates being higher, I recommend asking the seller to pay for that buy down. This will give 2 different savings, and you can refinance later if interest rates fall. Plus, if your income increases in a few years, the home will become more affordable because you have fixed costs and your mortgage payment does not really rise as quickly as rents do. And we've been talking about rents and rents rising, rapidly all over the place where, it still makes a ton of sense for people to buy. Obviously, they have to do that, they're building into the complete and purely.
I was not allowing you because okay, here we go.
There we go. We don't really see too much of this in our market. We might catch this in South Central, maybe Warren counties, but manufactured properties. It's manufactured.
Across the street, it's rebuilt, it's right on
The prefab?
prefab, yeah.
What's the difference between manufactured and mobile? What's the difference of a manufactured home and a mobile? Believe it or not, it's just a date. It's 76. They consider them mobile homes actually. After that, they consider them manufactured.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a date. Just a date.
Yeah.
So they're built inside a place like this and drop down. So they function the same way, but mobile is like kind of old technology or date.
Work the same amount. My neighbor across the street swears it's worth more.
Yeah, some people think with manufactured properties, because you're built in like a controlled climate environment, that
For people
the
that
wood
have
and
allergies
everything,
and
and
stuff.
everything's kind of cured, if that makes sense, versus like out the elements that things start creaking and settling and stuff like that. So I guess that's one of those.
I think they're worth the same. I think that, I don't think that people should say they're worth less because they were manufactured before. Because again, because it's in a controlled environment, it's not exposed to the elements of water and snow and mold and everything else that's out there that's, that happens. I don't know.
When they get showed on bills and stuff like that, usually they take the bills off.
You could buy multi-million-dollar.
I was
Yes,
just
you
gonna- I
could.
was just-
Down the shore, that's where most of them are now.
$1
Mhm.
million.
You do.
Yeah, there's-
I sold one in gosh, what's the town? I'll think of the town, but I did I did sell one once, and the first people backed out because they didn't read it in the thing. And again, they had that negative thought in their mind. They weren't educated enough to realize that it wasn't a problem. And then the second people it was fine for, but yes.
The big stick with this was like, when you think mobile manufacturer, you're thinking like that single wide. Little
Yeah.
planters around the skirting and stuff. That's different when you're trying to compare it to like a colonial or something like that, but obviously, there's plenty of ones out there that are, built in a controlled environment.
So before we get to the question of the week, Eric Declercq has popped himself in here during our mortgage update moment. He tried not to show himself. Everybody knows Eric, he's the president of Viker Financial.
I miss
Always,
it. Hi,
always
everyone.
great to have you here.
I think I was here once before. I was sweating. I remember it was so hot. I just finished the workout. I think
Deb was here. I was sick that
you were
day.
sick.
Yes,
You had,
yes.
Some kind of illness.
My one sick day in 5 years and
That's
that was.
Just two things, and they really went back. Can you put that slide back up, the one that you put with this?
Mhm.
Okay? Just for talking purposes. So, when I see, I hadn't seen this slide before. But when I look at this slide, you know what I just say here? To me, this one over here on the left, I guess. To me, this is called the dot-com boom. Remember when everyone was a millionaire in the room with all your stock that you bought .com? You were only a millionaire if you sold it. You held it, you thought it was just gonna keep on going, and then you ended up with zero. This was the dot-com boom of housing. We had 2.5% interest rates, and we had a pandemic. Who would have ever thought pandemic? It was not on anybody's Monte Carlo scenario. That's what led to the thing on the left. That's not real. If you were lucky enough to participate, meaning you sold your stock at the height of the dot-com, you got your $600,000 house instead of your $380,000. You probably paid too much for your $600,000 house, but you're still going to be way ahead. Today, even if that falls off 20%, you're still ahead. So that's not real, and we've got to stop salespeople. Brokers. We bring buyers and sellers together. When we're in this market, we bring them together at this. I don't care what the house sells for. I don't really care what the consumer's interest rate is. I don't mean that in a spirited way. That's the market, right? That's what's available. Well, this isn't available anymore. And I'm telling you, it was an anomaly. You know the stupidest people on the planet Earth? Are all those people in the left that paid cash. I bought a house. I could have paid cash. I put a $500,000 mortgage on the maximum I could do without putting in it. And gee, I borrowed it at 2 5/8, and inflation is 8. And my cash, I have a CD making 4.36. So if I took my 500,000 and put it in my 4.26 CD for 15 months at Synchrony Bank, I'm ahead if I pay cash. Done. Done. And now they can't even refund. So this is a dot-com vote. Get it out of your mind. Sellers, you missed the vote. And buyers, it'll be back. Don't worry. But to Anthony's point, yeah, and by the way, you've heard us say you marry the house and you date the rate. Well, gee, all of a sudden that's all over the media now. And that's what you do. How many of you own a home at refi at least once, probably everybody, and maybe twice or 3 times if you've been in a house? That's what you do if you want the house. Because the good news here is you're not going to pay 600 anymore. You're not going to pay. You might not pay 380, but you're going to pay 500, and at 7% interest rate, you're still ahead. But here's the other conversation that you really got to start changing. And we're ahead of this with you, but everybody's catching up. We have got to start, while we're in this mix, sellers still think their house is worth $1 gazillion, right? It's not, the news always lags 3 to 6 months, right? Buyers know where the interest rates are. So in that model, we have a dilemma. We have a seller that we've been telling, sell now to the peak. And now we're past the peak, and it's being flat, and in some markets it is in fact down. And I'm pretty sure we're done with the $100,000 over asking offers. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Okay. One out of
Thanks, Deb. Two.
That's the reality of that. Anomaly. Get it out of your mind. Lucky person. Not the market. We've got, so when we have this dilemma where we have a buyer that's please 7 and 3%, and we have a seller that says my house is $1 billion. Ryan Dawson posts, don't you dare bring me an offer for less than asking. This is the dilemma we're in. Well, it's what Anthony's talking about. We must start changing the conversation with our sellers. That if you want to get the most for your property, we don't know what the most is. The most is what somebody's willing to pay and somebody's willing to accept. That's the most. We don't know what that number is. Only those 2 people can decide, right? So that's our job. Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, if you want to get the most for your house and we want to attract buyers, let's start talking about buy downs. Because if we can get a buyer into a home at 5 3/8 interest rate, then it goes to 6 3/8, and then it goes to 7 3/8, and the seller paid for that, and that cost the seller 2.5%. By the way, of the loan amount, not the sales price. You're with me there, right? So that's less, okay, than the sales price. Seller gets his money on the sales price, you get paid on the sales price, right? Buy down is calculated on the mortgage amount, which could be 20% less than that, 10% less than that, 40% less than that, right? Seller's still getting paid at the sales price. So if the seller can hold on to a little more value and only pay 2.5% of the mortgage amount to entice the buyer to come and buy their house, that's a win for everybody. Because the buyer can stick around for a couple of years and look for that interest rate reduction. Never say promise, but I guarantee there is a more than high probability
There is.
that we will see lower interest rates in 12 to 24 months. Now, low is not going to be 2.5 ever again for now, but low could be 5.
That's what I've been talking about. 5%, that's where it's.
Low could be 5, and if you buy at 7.5, you got a little bit better deal. Somebody helped you for a couple of years, absorb the payment shock, and you can refi in 5 years, in 2 years. It's a win-win-win for you, win for seller, win for buyer. And the seller's got to be willing to do that. I market the house with that, whatever it is. And by the way, we're trying to create a lot of other more creative buy-downs. A 2.0 buy-down, by the way, down 2. I'm trying to do a 1.5% a 1.5% 0.5% buy-down, which is something, but it only would cost the seller 1.7%. trying to work with the agency, maybe they get a half of 5 years. Agencies only allow us to go to 3 years, but in the old Stone Age, when I originated loans for White Realtors 35 years ago, I was a loan officer here. You know that, told you that story many a time. You know, we used buy downs because in those days, it was a buyer product. We could take the 11% interest rate that I was selling when I was at White Realtors, 9.5% on a 1-year arm. We could take the 11% and buy it down to 9, 10, 11, and we could qualify the buyer at 9%. You can see what that does in this example, right? I could get that 380 guy up to 480, 500 house. Those rules have gone away. They disbanded those rules. So there's no more advantage to the buyer in buying a home. But the way we have to position this is, I see it more today as a seller's tool in the shifting market to convince a buyer that maybe if they think they're being paying a high price, they can, quiet, Siri. They can get that dream if they got left behind when they didn't have cash, they couldn't buy a house. Those people that were lined up. There's still hope for those people. They got to make some sacrifices. The dot-com boom is over. Glad we were all here to at least take one part of it.
Mhm.
That's the good news. This is the market. Talk too much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric.
Still a great real estate market's going to be up here next year, but I think the benefit will be the major consolidation. There's projections that as many as such as Anthony's point estimate that we could see as many as 30% the mortgage lenders in our country go away. Every day that I open my computer, another one goes away. Luxury mortgage. Just read today, they're a big company out of the Manhattan area or in that area. Stop taking new loans. You could wake up with one of the people you are referring loans to, and I caution you to always refer Anthony. You could wake up one day in that loan officer's company, like not New American, my buddy Frank Mancino's company, Finance of America, huge company, huge. Finance of America, huge company. My buddy Frank, they just get an email that says, we are exiting the business tomorrow. Frank must have 109 lots of when he's one hell of an originator. What happens then? Be careful.
Mhm.
These are unique times.
For sure.
Be
For sure.
careful and be smart.
Yep.
Sorry, have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate it.
Just for short term, last week. The prime rate has increased. The current lending rate of banks right now. A 4%, B 5%, C6, or D 7%.
Hey, final answer. Hey, final answer.
A little birdie said A over here. Go, Terry.
I'm saying C when it down. C.
I heard the answer. The answer is D.
C, 7%. Yep.
Any questions? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
And I'm saying, okay, we're buying down the rate.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Now the houses are also falling in prices. They're not gonna stay up there. So we're buying down their rate in 2 years. What if the house doesn't appraise for what they need to refinance? I mean, I'm supposed to be doing what's right for myself.
So, well, here's the example that I think was on some of the slides previously in the flyer. So let's say you have a $500,000 seller. You've been talking to the seller going, hey, listen, 500,000 is pretty ambitious, but I was willing to kind of roll the dice with you. Okay? So now we're sitting here 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, we have an offer on the table. 4%. $30,000 haircut, you're thinking about lowering it to 30,000, any of those two variables. Well, why don't we respond back and say, listen, I'm gonna give you a seller concession to use to abide in. Let's say we use Eric's example, he was talking about 2.5% cost. Let's say the buyer's taking the loan out for 20% or considering $500,000, let's say it's a $400,000 loan, right? 2.5 or 2% on that is $8,000, $10,000 in cost. Rather than the seller going, all right, let's take the offer of 30,000. They offer a concession to cover the buy down for the buyer. It only actually costs him $8,000 or $10,000 in cost. He still nets that difference of the 30, called 20,000. And the buyer gets a rate reduction from 5 3/8 or 5 1/8, 6 1/8, 7 1/8. So their payment is starting out $400 cheaper for the first year, $200 some dollars cheaper that second year, and then it amortizes to that final rate that third year with the plan of refinancing that customer in that period of time. So we're not talking about a reduction in value. That house is not going to be worth $420 or something like that. We obviously don't push the ball on what can happen to the market a year from now, 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. There's no restriction on refinancing. We can refinance that customer in 8 months if rates were to go down. It's really just to kind of help them take that leap for that first year or two to be able to take advantage of a lower rate than the current market is. And it didn't cost the buyer any money in pocket because it's a seller paid, utilized as a concession. And now the buyer was like, wow, I paid 10 grand for the concession, but I kept 20 grand in my pocket versus all the options and lower the price or accept that offer and we'll settle. So it's not a guarantee, but it's just an offer that you're able to present to a buyer if I'm the seller.
So I think just to elaborate on that a little more, if I understood correctly. So Deb's saying, okay, so now they get it for 500. Now it's worth 470 in 3 years when it's time to refinance.
But that's any buyer that's buying any house in today's market, who knows what the market. Forget the buy down piece, that's got nothing to do with anything.
But could they then still refinance? I
There's
guess.
no restriction on refinance. You're off fair market value. So whether the house was
appraised.
What's that?
What if the house doesn't appraise for that? They're kind of screwed.
But what happens if they sell the house for 470 and it doesn't appraise for a year or two down the road?
No, I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to tell them that this.
It's really a win-win where the seller is maximizing their profit versus reducing the price, and the buyer's winning by getting a lower payment.
Yeah,
from a
right.
year or two.
Right. They're
You
still
can't really
winning.
get into value.
Nothing to do with
No, it doesn't have anything to do with it. It doesn't have anything to do with it. No.
We can't predict the future. We don't know. Like, we keep talking about this market. So we keep the other day, multiple offers still losing. Everybody's still having deals where they're writing contracts, we're still losing. You're still getting big offers. Priscilla's getting, Mike's getting big offers on houses. Our specific market, you gotta kind of stay within it. We're still getting a lot of crazy offers on properties. But as we start to move out of our markets and our areas, some things are actually having to get reduced. Our homes are coming up where people are still shooting, the sellers are still shooting for that big number because the neighbor, did 3-4 months ago. But there's got to be a realization and conversation. Yeah.
Seller's inspection. What happens when you have a home inspection, you have issues, and now you need another seller's
So
inspection?
again, just focus on the word concession if we're strictly coming in that way. What happens when you have a seller concession and someone comes in on an offer and says, hey, we want you to give us a $10,000 concession? You're still capped at that seller concession maximum that buyer is eligible for that type of financing that you're accepting.
So you may not be able to get the financing if there's one issue.
Well, it depends on the situation. So let's say a buyer comes in, let's take the buy down, leave it off the table. You have a buyer in a certain market on a house that's been sitting for a little bit, they're tight on cash, or maybe they want to do renovations, they want to keep as much money as they can as possible. And they lead in and we go, we're going to give you your price, but we want a $10,000 or $12,000 concession. I always say this to buyers, I'm involved with the transaction, writing up a contract with the agent. Listen, keep in mind, you're going in full steam ahead with a concession request, right? Understand the back end. Whatever happens with that inspection in the next 10 days, you can't get any more from the seller. So you got to figure out what path you're willing to kind of go down to. You kind of can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't go in and go, I'm going to maximize the concession, keep more money in my pocket, and then at the same time too as well go, I want you to fix all these things or give me another $10,000 credit on that. It's one or the other. That's why it's hard leading in with the concession. And that's also the challenge we run into some buyers that are tight on cash, or they maybe don't want to keep money in reserve, or they don't have enough money. They got to be nimble comes to inspection time. And that's why we always have this conversation. I always ask you guys, you want to go out, what's the condition of the house? We work, right? Is it gonna be a challenge? Let me get some photos. What's that I see in that picture there? Is that gonna be a problem? Now, I have a VA loan right now that I'm doing. The house looked really perfect in the pictures. And guess what? The house has old clapboard that's painted and the paint is flaking on all 3/4 of the house. VA appraiser's like, listen, done subject to, need the house scraped and painted. Now buyer and seller are hashing down. It's part of what we do, and we have to deal with. But if we're leading into a buy down for the concession or a concession to fund closing costs, you always got to be worried about the condition of that home, if there's going to be a challenge or issues. That's.
It's funny because we're coming out of a market where people were waiving the
Oh,
inspection.
concession, that's something to talk about too.
Oh, yeah.
The inspection,
Of course.
yeah. They were.
I remember concessions, how would we word that? Remember not we're doing now with waiving inspections and appraisal? It was like, how do we word this? Then it used to be, how do we word the concessions in the, how do we write up the contract if they want a $5,000 or $10,000 concession right off the bat? Right? So it's always going to be something. We're always going to deal with something.
Prior to the pandemic, I think there's ever been a concession conversation, explaining to the buyer, like, this is your max, it's the reason why your max is, even though your percentage is certain percentage based on the purchase price or the certain type of loan that you're getting, keep in mind, it can never exceed the closing costs. So again, you need to be working closely with that lender when you're writing out the contract. You can't just strike a number in there saying seller concession is 15,000. Closing cost max are 12. The difference goes back to the seller. If you're not working with a lender that's in tune or explaining this or microing it all the way through with the attorney, because a lot of times nobody's talking to the attorney. I always talk to you guys too as well. I mean, you guys are negotiating any form of concession, you need to consult with the lender first too as well on that, what that max is. Because if you put a number out there, seller agrees, and all of a sudden they get to closing and they balance the CD and the closing cost for 12, and they agree to a $15,000 concession, that check's going right back to the seller. And usually you can't navigate that right at the table. So I'm always in front of that stuff.
Just came out of a market where we were setting expectations and buyers were waiving inspection. So, so it's all about still setting expectations. We were saying, if you want the house, you gotta waive this, you have to waive that.
I think they were limiting requests, they weren't doing it.
I think it's several.
Definitely.
You just put it in.
Or for informational purposes.
There's do it for informational purposes.
That just wait to complete the need to have. Should.
Because they felt that they were screwed
They
up.
wanted a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's going to be, if they want a $10,000 concession from the get-go, then you have to have the conversation. Say, if you do that now and anything comes up in home inspection, then you're not going to be able to do it. So I just want to let you, let you know that.
Under concession, just understand, be limited to what you can go back and get. Seller might say, listen, even anymore. So what's the condition of the house looks like? To the buyer, to the buyer, people understand that you're gonna have to take on some of these things. You have to do some repairs too as well. What's the first thing the seller gonna do? All right, well, then you want that, I'm going to want to pull back a portion for the entire concession. So it's kind of like one of these, but it all depends on the buyer, depends on the condition. For me as a lender, I'm always just looking through your eyes versus what I'm seeing in photos, because you've been at times.
If the seller goes down to, let's say, the 30,000, so let's say it's gonna be less for the buyer than on the book, right? Is it true then that by doing the seller concession, it's more of a reduction for the buyer for the first 2 years?
So you're saying, like, let's say the seller said, rather than doing the buy down, or giving the credit towards the buy down, I'm gonna reduce the house. Well, the seller's then, he's out 30,000, the seller is, but the buyer, the cost on the buy down is gonna be much more greater for the monthly savings. Because remember, every $5,000 up or down, is only $25 a month.
Yeah.
And again,
That's a
that
good-
also might help that buyer get that house, make that decision versus, he's one of the 5 other offers.
Yes, that's $150 less a month versus $400. Yeah.
On these scenarios, if we're running on average, they run about $350 to $4 something a month in savings for like a quarter. Price point.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Say the seller description cannot exceed closing costs.
Yes.
Who's owns
Fine, the lending guidelines. So, for example, like Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loans, 99% of all lenders and investors have utilized it from a guideline perspective. $500,000 purchase price, $400,000 loan, 20% down, you're allowed 6% self concession. So 6% on 400, that's $24,000. But if the closing costs are 12, cap at 12. So, yeah, so it's capped at 12. So the biggest thing is you're negotiating upfront, or the attorneys and buyers and sellers negotiating, and the lenders are sitting on the sideline. And they find out your letter comes in signed that they negotiated with $60,000 self concession. Lender goes, well, max is 12,000 because this. Then you got to retool it. So you always got to keep your lender in the loop if there's any kind of dialogue with concessions, inspection items and stuff like that too as well. Super critical. Because then all of a sudden you got to go back to the seller and be like, the max is 12 grand. And you're like, okay, well, I'm only giving 12,000. So they got to restructure it, reduce price. If there's a handshake between attorneys at closing, you know.
So the way around that, you propose that the contract is a credit at that.
Credit's not a good word when it comes to mortgage. You don't want to see the word credit because they want to know what's going on with the house. Why is there a credit? Typically, any kind of monies that are coming from the seller to the buyer has to be structured as selling concession. Never want to see the word credit on there, and usually the attorneys and stuff will kind of handle their business outside of the transaction. Or they have to reduce the price plus the concession to kind of.
So if you do them, cash deal.
Cash deal with difference. Words, when you deal with mortgages, there's trigger words that kind of go into contract that we don't want.
Investment,
Here whatsoever, because it just pulses more questions.
credit, all those words affect your mortgage rate.
We don't
All
want
those
to
things.
see that there's a escrow hold back 30,000.
Mhm.
First question is going to be, well, something that I don't.
Mhm.
We don't
Yeah.
get a copy of the inspection. I have some buyers that I just believe you. I don't want to know what's going on. But I know there's a concession.
Oh my God,
I
it's
want
so
to be-
funny.
Not going to be incriminated whatsoever.
Yeah.
5% of the.
Again, when you're writing that up in the contract, the guys who negotiate it, the lender in finance taxes. Because like investment properties, 8%, but like USDA loans, VA loans, only 4%. So there's total caps. If someone's only doing 3% on conventional, it's only 3% self-concession. So you have your restrictions in certain properties. Yeah, you got to be working better to the financing, writing that stuff up, during the process, and so the issue with inspections.
Yeah, so great. See, that's why you have to bring in the middle once in a while. They have a lot of good questions for you.
She actually mentioned fire. Keep the mortgage stuff.
Yes, absolutely. 100%, 100%. Yes.
Call that. Find out what that max was. That buyer could potentially be challenged where they'd be finding out closing exposure, they might be asked out by $100,000. Not getting that money that would go back to sell.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Ann.
Very well.
So some office updates. Our agents who accelerate to 90% this month, Lori Kaplan, Debbie, and Lanny. Funny, it was all on one deal. How it all happened. I love it. Welcome new agents. Because I don't have professional photos of you, I couldn't put your photos up. So at least stand up for a minute and just say hi to everybody. If you did not meet, what did she say? Pam, stand up for a minute and say hello to everybody. So Pam and Elise is just, she just was activated with our office. Pam is signing paperwork today, so welcome them if you see them around the halls. Continuing ed, we were just talking about this, because those agents who took their test, I believe it's July on in 2022, they don't have to do their CE credits. But the rest of us do. So if you haven't taken care of it yet, there is some new classes that they have. And this is a realtor safety class. It's just a 3 CE credit, core credit class. It's $40. So I know some of you have taken piecemeal here and there. If you've done that and need 3 core credits, it's a good class to take to satisfy that. And these are the dates. You can always go on to schoolofrealestate.com and then you can see all of the CE classes that they have available. And this is for the, whatchamacallit, 12 CE credits, okay? So they have a virtual one and they have some in the sales office. So,
13.
huh? No, fair housing is part of the 12. Yeah. No, so now what that means is you have to have one fair housing credit as part of the 12. So one of them has to be 12, fair housing. So fair housing is one, ethics are two, so that's three you have to have. Those three automatically go under core. So that leaves you with 3 additional core credits you have to get, which is what that realtor safety one is for someone who needs the additional 3 core credits. And then anything you take besides those 6 that I just mentioned are elective, so they could be anything. You could take fair housing 6 more times. You could take ethics, 3 more times. You could do whatever you want for the elective ones, right?
Do one for.
Correct, correct. Elective is everything, but the only ones that have to be like that have to be done is the 1 fair housing, 2 elective, 2 ethics, and then 3 additional core. So those 3 have to.
This one includes everything.
Everything. Yep, all 12 with everything. Yes, yes. So again, it's 2 days. The next one is November 30th and December 1st, but they will have it throughout the year and the new year. They'll continue to have it until April 30th when these credits have to be satisfied. I wouldn't wait till last minute, but no, because it's a live class. So any live classes, whether they're virtual or in person, you do not have to take a class. If you decide to go on to like ceshop.com and take those modules where it's not live and they don't know whether you're paying attention, cooking dinner, doing your laundry, then there's going to be a test at the end of those to make sure you're paying attention during the time. Well, so they are here because the School of Real Estate is next door. So they have had a few here already. Yeah, so so that's what I'm saying. They're going to continue to have these classes. So what happened was Clifton must have called and said, we have a big group of people that want to have it. Could you come to our office and have it? So that's what happened. So we could do that also if we want to, if we have a big group of people who want to do it here, they'll do it, but they probably will do more here anyway.
It's both. It's a.
Well, yes, I believe that's what they were doing. So it's in the theater room up front.
Right.
They're taping it, or they're in the theater room up front, so you can either be live or attend virtually. Yes. Sure.
Look to see what credits you have.
Yes. PSI. I could send you the link, Elise. This way you don't have to look for it. I send you the link. I could.
I may already believe. I did some sort of training. They said that was going to count for your credits.
Yes. Yes. The same thing that Joe was going through. That's why, like that realty safety class. Yeah, that realty safety class for 3 credits would might just satisfy the other 3 credits you need for core, and then everything else. Yes, and
The restricted one with like the title.
Yep.
And for up to 3 hours. For up to 3 hours, they asked twice. They asked you to confirm if you're still listening by typing it.
Yes, you have to type in a word that they tell you. Yes.
Listen.
Yeah. Now, if you go onto schoolsofrealestate.com, there's a schedule. It tells you all the different ones that are coming up. Yeah.
Where is it?
Schools, schools.realestate.com. The left column is for new agents registering or looking for the pre-licensing class. The right side is for realtors already in business, and then whatever classes you need for a seat. It's a Weichert school. Yep. So this here is what Title does once a month, right? So they're doing free credits for you guys. So you just have to sign up. So this one is 2 New Jersey core credits. It's free. And it's going to be December 9th. So you go in onto that link that I put up there. You click onto there, you sign up, and then it sends you a reminder. And that's what the one that Joe was referring to, where it's going to, during the 2 hours, it's going to say, type in the name George or whatever, so that they know that you're paying attention. And that's what they do 2 or 3 times during the thing. But again, they're offering these free ones as well. So you can do it, in piecemeal if you want, free. So there's different ways to get your credits. There's different ways. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I do it every, yeah. So I do send it out.
It's like school of real estate, you have to pay, that's paid.
That's a paid one. That's $99 for 12 credits, all inclusive. So you get everything in. So you can either take them in pieces if you want, or you can do it all in one. So it's really up to you what you want to do. Or you go to Triple Play, which is coming December 5th through 8th in Atlantic City, which a lot of us did last year, and you take your credits there. So there's different ways to do your credits. So again, there are about 40 days left in 2022. What is your plan for a successful 2023? So this is the accountability class I'm doing on Mondays at 1 o'clock. We're going through the Tom Ferry webinar, 8 to 10 minute pieces, and we're just discussing each one. And then we're rolling up numbers each week, so you have to be accountable for the things you need to do. So you can join us every Monday at 1 o'clock here, and I also sent out a link last week. Planning day is next week. So instead of the 10 o'clock meeting, it's going to be 11 to 1. We're going to have a big luncheon. We're going to have a lot of great stuff. We're going to be getting together in groups and discussing different things. So it's going to be very collaborative. Make sure you do your business plan, please. I know you did. I know you did. You're right. So do your business plan and join me next week, 11 to 1. It'll be a great morning, afternoon together. And that's in place of our office meeting. We're going to do a Thanksgiving potluck dinner. It's going to be November 21st, the Monday before Thanksgiving. So we're not going to have our office meeting on Wednesday. We're going to have it Monday, and then we're going to have our potluck luncheon together. Also, we did not collect toys for tots this year back in July. We can't remember why. It was Anthony's fault. We don't remember why it was Anthony's fault or why we didn't collect them, but we're just going to blame him anyway. So please bring in an unwrapped toy we're looking into a few places around here right now to see who, is underutilized in getting toys, like we know Morristown Memorial, but they get inundated with it. We want to find a charity that doesn't get a lot of toys. So if anyone knows one or we had a few come in yesterday. We just want to see what's the best one. Yeah, that'd be great.
But Bonnie Gray and Waste Home, so many places that really accept donations all the time. So I'll ask them. I know that Carol wants me to still say meetings the third Thursday, because we're getting food, like on Wednesday, so that we're going to pantry. She's still involved in everything.
Oh, I know that.
Yes, and there's a lot of that they donate. I can ask for somebody.
Yes, please, yes. Share that with me so I can share it with everybody. So you're going to bring a dish for the Thanksgiving potluck, and you're going to bring a toy, and we're going to just get together for Thanksgiving prior to. Then we're going to do an ugly sweater, Secret Santa in December, and then we're going to have our holiday party in January this year. Since last year, our holiday party was a super spreader. Allegedly. We had it right before the holidays, so this year we'll have it right after the holidays, and we don't have to worry about that. Quaker is doing a Thanksgiving drive, so if anybody wants to take advantage of that, please bring in food for the Thanksgiving drive. Laura's going to be making social media posts for you to put out there on social media, because obviously anything that we can do like this as a community is great for community awareness, and it always helps out to tell people you can run by their house and pick it up, they can drop it off here. I mean, during the toy drive, there's just droves of people who just come in and drop off toys all the time. When we have the coat drive, which Tara's doing again, it's just amazing. The community outreach and how people just love to help out and love to be part of something like that. So I'm talking about the community, them coming in. So again, just make sure you're putting it out there on social media and getting the word out. Refer and earn program. Remember, referring an agent to our office would help you with residuals going through forever and ever and ever, as long as both the two of you are here. So I want to thank Vin, Datwani, and Mara this week for referring some great agents over to me. And all you have to do is fill out that go on to that little QR code, and then there's a refer and earn form there that gives all the information. Your NCJR memberships are due January 1st. Do not wait It's a $75 late fee if you wait till after January 1st, and they'll shut down our office on January 15th. Okay, so if everybody's not paid, because everybody has to be paid is they're part of an office. So it's like 5:35. Yes, look in. If you didn't get an email, then you probably have an old email on file with them that maybe you're not using, because whatever email you have on file is where it comes to. And so you cannot use my nerd's number, because that's mine, unless you want to pay my dues. That would be awesome if someone wants to do that. And maybe I shouldn't tell you guys this. And then enter your invoice number. So again, that's my unique number. You would get your unique number on your email. If you don't have an email, you don't get it, call up NCJAR and they will help you out very easily. It has nothing to do with Wyker. So no, you're not going to get this. This has nothing to do with Wyker. This is a board joke. So you're not going to get any reminders from Wyker on here. Our local market absorption rate, I mean, those numbers are still incredibly low. I feel like they're getting lower and lower, but you know, we're a 2-month absorption or under in all of our markets here. So still incredibly low. That's what's going to keep our homes appreciated. Remember, we cannot depreciate in a low inventory market. So, but that's also a challenge for us to getting business, right? And getting our buyers into a home. So it sort of is, you know, bittersweet that what happens there. We don't have any new listings this week. Yeah.
When this is coming out.
Yes, yes.
It's, it'll be going on the market next week. I'm coming soon, and then I'll do an open house next Saturday and Sunday, the 19th to 20th. It's 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse in Oak Ridge Development in Woodley. And it's gonna be about 500,000. Hardwood floors, a big kitchen, updated bathrooms. So,
Awesome, awesome.
no.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
Anyone else have anything new coming on while we're getting into the new listings? Yes, Ben.
I'm not to one back first floor.
Come on, Marissa, he's the king of Richard Mine Road. You have to be the queen. We have to crown you. So these are all the listings that we have in our office, again, just to share with you. Oh, I'm going backwards. Like, what the heck? So these are all our listings, exclusives, active. So if you're looking for an open house opportunity, it's a good place to look on here, see what's available, reach out to a listing agent. But we have a lot of, well, somewhat a lot of active listings going on right now. And then these are the land listings that we have. So everything's here for you every week to make sure that you're on top of what we have going on. Anybody have any price improvements in search of on the horizon?
I have 2 rentals going on today. 4,500 each, they're new construction, 3 beds, 2 baths each, for the floor, kitchen, all brand new, walk to the train, walk to downtown, 1 car garage for each unit. That's it.
That sounds great. That sounds really great. Anybody else have anything new coming on? You guys are so darn quiet. Okay. What time is it? 11:23. Oh, let me do my. Following a dream, following a dream. Who cares? Who cares? $2 billion winner, $2 billion winner, don't try. Okay. You know, the store won $1 million for selling a ticket. Wow. Yeah. It was a lovely lady.
Just a parking spot.
Oh, I have to call him to get me off of here. There we go. Hey, let's see, we're all done. All right, all right.
I signed up for that. Yeah, I got that invite from you. I signed up for the referrals, generation. But Op City, I signed up for that. It's like 24 hours later, and it said you still set your email. I think it's this.
Give you a number. Yeah. This is third party company, so. Yeah. Yeah, I will get you their number. Let me see if I have it on my phone, actually, before I say that.
So I even, took it off and re-entered it, and it's still the same.
Oh, yeah, I have an agent success line. I'm gonna share it with you right now.
Oh, okay.
Do remember getting this now. There you go.
Okay, great, thanks.
If somebody died in a house, you don't have to disclose it.
The only thing you have to disclose is any malfunctions of the house. If somebody died in the house because they have an elevator and the elevator
Oh, right.
fell on them,
But if they died of like a drug.
no, God, no, nothing.
It's like, I feel bad knowing that, like my neighbor who dropped off in his apartment, next 2 doors down from me, their unit is listed for sale. And I know that he was like literally like dead in there for days.
That has nothing to do with the structure of the house or the
I
apartment
know,
or
but
the condo.
I feel like I'm more.
It has nothing, no,
No,
no, you're not supposed to talk. If they ask you, obviously, you're not gonna lie to anybody, but you should not, you don't have to disclose that. Are you listing it or?
Unit and now the unit's for sale. And I'm like, you don't have to disclose it, but it's like, I didn't know. When I moved into my condo, I thought I asked.
I did want.
I barely have enough to say.
I don't have to say, like, small room, but I
But I
can.
asked, this one has to do it. So I didn't know if someone died in the way.
Just.
Thanks for.
No, I know, I was like, oh, can I get, I was like, be a show, I could be a host for a show. That's my calling, Don. Exactly, right, exactly. This is not what I said when I wanted to grow up one day. This was not on my list of things to do. For sure.